All right. And now we got a superstar coming in here. He is the Robin Hood of healthcare. I mean, it took me a while to wrap my head around that whole idea of being the Robin Hood of healthcare, but he seems to have it pretty much under control. Dr. Sean McCaffrey, welcome to the greatest show of all time.
Well, thank you very much and welcome, and I appreciate being here.
Oh, and tell us about the Robin Hood of healthcare.
You know, it came out of the idea, the concept that our healthcare system is broken. And all you have to do is you go through and you look at chronic degenerative disease, you look at acute traumatic illness and infectious disease, and you watch, well, you know, how many people are in our society pass every year? And we lose roughly about 3 million people a year in this country. But according to the CDC, only 12% are acute, traumatic, or infectious. And so I started doing the numbers on that. And I started thinking to myself, okay, so our medical system is rock star at knocking down acute, traumatic, infectious disease, but it's only 12% of the deaths. What is everybody else passing from?
COVID.
Well, that's infectious, right? Isn't that the rule? So that doesn't work. That's a big hiccup and an oops.
That's
right?
all the other deaths, right?
You know, and that's what they would tell you, isn't it? And we can
every one, especially after 10 p.m.
Well, you know, and that's how it works. Apparently, it's highly infectious after 10. It really likes to catch you when you're sleeping and not paying attention, and you got to make sure you're wearing your thin cloth that will stop nothing but that. And apparently, that's how it works. So when we look at this, we think about chronic diseases, though. Your heart disease, your strokes, your cancers, things that, you know, take people's lives, but they don't know a cause behind it. Well, according to the CDC in 2018, at least, that's 88% of all the deaths in this nation. And so I thought to myself, we're missing something here. Our system is not designed to handle this. There's got to be more. We need to change the system, or at least revolutionize the way healthcare is performed, and hence came the term the Robin Hood of healthcare. It was simply to represent the people who are not getting represented, the 88%.
Now, I know that you had been doing concierge medicine. Mm-hmm. Tell us about that.
You know, I love doing it. It's a lot of fun. It's really something that allows me to reach out and broaden what I do. I'm able to travel to see families in their own environment, to see patients who are too ill to travel themselves for care, and they fly me in. I've been to Maine, I've been to Vermont, I've been to Florida, California, Texas, I've flown a lot of Missouri, all over the place, just trying to help out these families. And a lot of it's about restoring normal. When you get told you've got something, you can never get rid of it. Mm-hmm. That is such a nail in the coffin for someone. Mm. And really, it's about hope. Hope is what allows people to heal. And if you can't give them hope, then you're doing a disservice. And in my opinion, you shouldn't be practicing as a physician.
I remember when my dad was driving the car and his phone rings and he hands me the phone, answer the phone, and it's his proctology oncologist. And he was fighting, what's the cancer that men get? Prostate cancer. Mm-hmm. And she's like, you know, I see a patient here. His signs are crashing. And I hang up the phone. And I remember, this is the saddest moment of my life. He looks at me. He's like, do I have a shot? I didn't even know what the hell to say.
Right. And that's exactly what the term, I guess, Robin Hood is supposed to represent. It's giving families, it's giving individuals that something to say. I'll give you an example. My father passed about 3 weeks ago.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
He was in a nursing home situation and everything's locked down, everything's COVID'd up. And fortunately, because I'm a physician, mm-hmm. I can get in. Mm. Most people can't. I can't imagine going through these times right now where you cannot get in to see your loved ones and they're going to sit there and pass away with a nursing staff that barely knows them. Right? You know how good they are. You lose that sense of humanity. Mm-hmm. So I got in to go see my father. And, you know, he's passing away. He's suffered a stroke about 5 years ago. It's time. And he didn't want to let go. And I firmly believe it was for my mother. He didn't want to let go because he wanted my mom to not be left alone. Mm-hmm. And so I went down with my mother. I got her to go in with me as part of my staff. And so I took her in with me to see my father, and we sat there with my dad, and I told my mom, she's crying, she's going, I said, Mom, look, he understands you right now. I know he's not real coherent, but he understands you right now. Here's what I need you to do, because this is healing. I go, I want you to sit down with a notebook and start writing out everything you can remember back from the beginning of your relationship, when you first met, the things that made you smile, the things that made you who you guys became. Write that. And then I want you to read it to him. John, do you remember when we did this together? And laugh if you feel like laughing. Smile if you feel like smiling. Because he fought this week after week after week. It wasn't 2 days after she started doing that. She got about 5 stories in, and my father passed away peacefully. That's the way it should be. That's what you have to do with people on that last step. We all cry and worry and get fearful and afraid. Well, it doesn't make them feel any better either. Remember the good moments, the good times. Think of all the great things you shared and what you've done with one another, and that is game changing. It changes their future as they move on to whatever's next. It changes yours while you're here.
Look, you're one of the smartest doctors I know. What's your best piece of advice for people to live healthy lives?
You know, I think you got to keep that 6 inches between your ears clear. You know, I have a rule of thumb. I call it fact, fantasy, theory. And fantasies are just that. They're things that you want to have happen, but I'd love to walk on Mars, but it's probably not going to happen in my lifetime. It's a fantasy, right? A theory is what we have abundant in the news right now. Everyone has theories on COVID, theories on masks, theories on distancing.
And nobody knows a damn thing.
Nobody has a damn clue. That's exactly right. They don't have a freaking clue, but they had theories and they propagate them as though they're facts. But the reality is you have to know facts. If I sit here and I have these glasses and I drop these right now, it is a fact they're going to fall. I know gravity works on this planet. They're going to fall. So you let facts in here. You choose whether you want to believe a theory, but you have to know that you cannot believe in fantasy. And if the theory is proved wrong, you have to move it to the fantasy side. If you can get people just doing that, it can change their life forever.
Hey, man, that's why I only talk about stuff that I know. I don't talk about stuff that I believe. Everything I do with my clients, and I'm proud to call you one. You're in your second year with my $1 Million Business Accelerator. And I only talk about stuff that I actually know really works for authors, speakers, coaches, experts who want to have more impact, influence, and income, have more of an opportunity to make a difference. And I'm so proud that it's in alignment with your philosophy of medical health.
Well, brother, it's been great. It's been outstanding. And you know what's so nice about it? It gives you a way to grow your reach, right? To let people know that you're there. And that's the biggest challenge, I think, when you're doing something that is so outside the box, but is so profound. How do you let anyone know it exists? And you offer that platform in a way unlike anything I've ever seen. And I appreciate it very, very much.
How do people find out about having you become their concierge physician or a hands-on practitioner?
Yeah, absolutely. You go to McCaffreyhealth.com. You can look me up under McCaffrey Health on Facebook or Dr. Sean McCaffrey under Facebook. It's easy to find me. I'm everywhere. And if you want, you can tune in on 1450 on Saturday mornings to House Call Radio.
Hey, he's always got one of these hats on with a 4-leaf clover on top of it because he and his Irish ancestors have figured out the solution for osteoporosis. You'll have to talk to him directly about that. Spell McCaffrey Health. Go ahead.
McCaffrey Health.com.
All right. Dr. Sean McCaffrey, thanks so much for being my superstar guest on The Greatest Show of All Time.
Appreciate it.